Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Caleb from Cubo Gaming, and as you can probably gather from the title and the thumbnail, this video is about a survival game. But unlike other survival games where the main goal is just to survive, this game has a bigger goal and is insanely in-depth. The game I'm talking about and the game that you're seeing right now is Eco. The game is basically a simulated ecosystem with the main goal of stopping a meteor from destroying the Earth. Now, that's not the only threat. Like I said before, it's a simulated ecosystem, so the other threat is the impact that you have on your own environment and the world around you. So that means that you have to keep in mind how much waste you're producing and also how much of one material or resource that you're using so that it doesn't go extinct. Your main goal is to progress through technology to get to the point where you can ultimately stop the meteor from hitting the Earth with lasers. Now, I mentioned this game before in one of my previous videos. I was basically comparing it to Scrap Mechanic, and my main argument was that this game has more purpose and a lot more progression than that game did. And honestly, I feel this game has more purpose and ambition than most survival games. You know, it's not the most refined or best looking survival game out there, but honestly, this game doesn't even need that to stand out. It's not just a survival game. It's building an economy and building a government system so you can build the infrastructure to be able to stop this meteor from destroying the Earth. So basically, when you start out, your goal is to basically claim your land and start building your house. Obviously, like most survival games, building your house is a given, but claiming your land is something that you don't see often. But this part of the game is actually a huge part of why it's so unique. Other players and your friends also claim land, and obviously this creates a series of small city-states. And what's cool about this mechanic is that you can actually elect a world leader that all the lands are under. You can also elect other government officials. You create your own constitution. You can even set laws and legislations for that world. The amount of in-depth government systems that you can implement into your world is crazy. But if that doesn't interest you and you're not sold on the whole creating your own government system, the game has much more to offer to keep your interest. Another thing that you do in this game when you start out is select a trade. There's a massive skill tree and you get to select what trades you're best at. Each trade makes you better at that specific field, but also allows you to create and craft things that pertain to that field. Things like carpenter profession, which helps you making better logs faster, or the smith profession, which allows you to have better tools so you can smelt ores down faster, or maybe the engineer, which allows you to make machinery and things like technology faster than maybe the other professions. And even though you're not limited to just one, you can mostly build up your skill tree in one profession so that you have something valuable to trade with others around you. Which brings me to the trade system in this game. Unlike other survival games, you actually can trade with other players with certain currencies. So everyone starts out with their own currency, which essentially is worthless. But as a community, you can work together to make a common currency, which you can trade and buy for goods around the planet. This allows you to set up shops and storefronts to encourage free trade, which in turn builds a stronger economy within your world. You all work together within your specific fields in order to get to the final goal of stopping the meteor or to just build a strong economy. Now, if this doesn't interest you and you're just into the survival aspect of the game, it does have a lot to offer in that field. There are a ton of options when building your house, and the game gives you a lot to work with so that you can build your house however you want. And not only that, there are a lot of tools and workbenches that give you various types of things that you can build within them. There are repair stations, masonry tables, smelters, and so much more. You can create massive storages to store all your wood and your stone. And also the game allows you to farm and build your own crops, all within this massive package that allows you to do so much more than just that. Another cool thing about this game is the map is entirely 3D. You see a real-time representation of your planet, and you can also see the different territories on that Earth. And not only that, but you can also search up specific resources and see the hotspots for those resources. And recently they added a lot more animals and even some that can be a danger to you, but you don't really die in the game. And this is something that may turn some people off, but it's not a PvP-centered game. Like, even with the animals, you can't die. If they attack you, then you lose stamina. And when it comes to players, you can't kill a player or die by a player, but rather you kind of compete in a way of building a better economy for yourself. It's a lot more PvE centered, so if you're one of those people that really like Rust or are all about PvP, then this probably isn't the game for you. But if you're all about PvE and teamwork, then you can actually do a lot in this game. If you don't feel like making your own world and starting from scratch, you can join a community and join one of the online servers and work together towards the end goal. And even if this doesn't interest you, the game by itself, with the survival mechanics that it has, is really good. The crafting feels really nice, and there's a lot of things to gather. There are animals, and the world is a decent size too. Even though the game is packed with governmental systems and legislation, the game by itself, with the survival mechanics that it has, really stands alone. Earlier when I was talking about joining a community and working towards that end goal, I joined a couple online servers that had a couple weeks, and some of these things that these people made is insane. One of them had a capital and all these roads and even street names, all kinds of different shops for different things, people driving all over the place with loads of materials. Oh, and another thing is that the game also has CNC machinery, and with that machinery, you make cars, and like I said earlier, at the end of the game, you make the lasers to destroy the meteor. You know, some of these communities had parks and recreational places. One of the landowners created a bridge across the entire globe so that they had control over the trade. I don't know if the person that owned those bridges added poles to those bridges, but this just goes to show the realism in this game and the amount of things that you can do with the things that they provide you with. Some of these communities had dense populated areas and some scattered nomads around the planet. I was taken away because this is a testament to those talented people when you give them things that they can work with. They create huge communities, they create capital cities, and they create entire economical systems within this game. I don't have a huge community to be able to build all of this, and I'm not that dedicated to it to where I can get to this point, but that doesn't mean that I don't find enjoyment in everything that the game offers. And another thing that's interesting about this game is if you go on the website, this game was actually made for educational purposes. It was made to be a legitimate simulation so that students and educational programs can use it for other students to learn and make their own ecosystems. And you know, that means that this game is not only a lot of fun, but it's educational. I don't know, it sounds weird, but this just goes to show the amount of detail and the amount of time put into these systems that are in the game. Yes, the game has a large learning curve and getting started can be kind of confusing, but once you get the hang of things and you start building and crafting, you'll get lost in the amount of things that are in this game. And yeah, at first look, it's not the best looking game, and sometimes it can be kind of clunky, but the game has its own kind of charm to it. Now, the game is $30 on Steam, and you know, that's a lot of money. And I realize that price of entry is kind of high here, but if you have the money and all of this that I've been talking about sounds really interesting to you, then this game honestly is worth it. And you know, this isn't a buyer pass and this isn't a game review, but I think that this game doesn't get enough credit, and I also think that it's got so much to it that it deserves more attention. So I hope I was able to shed some light on this game because I know that it deserves it. And if I convince you to buy the game, let me know down below if you want me to make some guide videos or tutorials so you guys can get started. And I think that's going to be it for this video. If you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Be sure to check out our Discord server and our gaming podcast, both linked below.